I'm so
hold on.
sorry.
Oh,
Was I muted? Can you
okay,
hear
Lady
me?
Freedom, good to see you. All right,
Hey.
here we go. All right, here we are. It's okay. You're there. You're fine.
Yeah, I'm here. Good to see you. Thank you for having me, Little Red.
All right. So I'm going to take this down, make this bigger so we could actually talk to each other for a minute. All right. Yeah. All right. There we go. All right. Good to see you. All right, everybody. Lady Freedom is here. I'm taking this earbud off. Hang on. It's interrupting me talking. So, all right. There we go. Now, let me turn this up so we can all hear. All right. Lady Freedom, how was your day?
Girl, I was
Good.
busy. It's
Oh.
busy. I'm getting ready for my trip and,
Oh no, I
just
can't hear her. Oh, I know why. Hang on, I got to turn this up just a second. I know why I had that. What? Okay, I got to put the earbud back on. I forgot. I was listening to. Okay, this is the only way I'm going to be able to hear Lady Freedom. Here we go. All right, here
no
we go. All
worries,
right,
no
Lady
worries.
Freedom, you can start talking now. All right. Hey there, Twitch
Yeah, no, I
Andrea. Good
just
to
said
see
I'm
you. Nice to
planning
see
for
you.
my
Oh, Jessica's
trip
here.
and
Add to the stage.
oh,
There
there
we
you
go.
go.
And we have
Hey,
Jessica, which okay, everybody. Jessica is Devlin's mother. So here's Jessica Beckham. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Okay.
Hi,
I don't. Is
thank
she
you for
talking?
having me. Can you hear me?
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. I was always happy to have guests, and I'm really happy to have you because if anybody knows anything, it's you. So yeah, here we go. All right, I'm ready.
Yes.
Okay.
I actually recently found out something, and I thought I still had an hour before going live, but I have an announcement to make.
Thank
So
you.
I just got off the phone with James Jones from Backwoods Search and Rescue,
Uh
and
huh.
there's something that apparently I have to clarify because there's misinformation being spread that I didn't even know. So the
Okay.
United Cajun Navy is not coming.
What? Oh.
oh,
So this is apparently what's going on. The United Cajun Navy, I guess, asked Find 911 if they would take the case um,
Uh huh.
because it's closer to Michigan, I guess. They're in Wyoming. So Find 911 is the one that will be helping search for Devlin. But I guess it's not going to be right away. They still have to get all their information from Ionia County Sheriff before they can even, get around to coming to Michigan. But it's going to be Find
Okay.
911. It's not going to be Cajun Navy.
well,
Oh.
that explains the
Okay. Well, you know
paperwork that
what?
you sent over to me because it said it did say find 911 and it didn't have the same letterhead as the United Cajun Navy.
Let me
I
turn this up so
literally just
everybody can.
got off the phone with James Jones. I literally just found this information out.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
no, and that
Thank
explains a
you so
lot,
much.
that's so yeah. Well, and I did see that, there was people that was going into other chats and stuff, so I'm glad that you clarified that.
Okay.
I didn't even know until he brought it to my attention. He got a hold of me on Messenger probably about an hour ago, hearing, that United Cajun Navy was coming. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And I sent him everything that I sent you, Lady Freedom. And then he
Yeah.
actually called the person that was emailing me. And I guess he was able to clarify and let me know that United Cajun Navy is not coming. It's not going to be them that will be coming. It'll be Find 911.
Well, that's great. Now, do they have boats and stuff? And are they going to search the waterways, or are you not sure yet?
I have no idea. They can't even begin to plan, what they're going to do until they get whatever information that Ionia County Sheriff has.
Oh, hang on.
Right.
Okay.
So they still have to get all that together then.
Yeah, I guess from what Backwards Search and Rescue is telling me, the paperwork that I signed is literally only able to get them in contact and get everything that Ionia County Sheriff has in Devlin's case. I was told that Ionia County Sheriff would probably try to stonewall him, but them to
You
figure
were
out
breaking
what's
up just
going
a little
on.
bit, Jess. Could you repeat that? You were breaking up just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I guess the paperwork is just for them to get everything in the case to find out like what's going on and what information that the cops have gathered so far so they can figure out where to go to look for Devlin from there. James Jones said that doesn't necessarily guarantee that they would take the case either. He said that it was more like an intake process.
Oh,
Oh, I see. So they're still in the process of figuring everything out.
dang.
I guess I don't know what's going on. This is all new to me. It's confusing, and it's not something any parent should have to go through.
Absolutely. I know, Jessica, and I know it's so tough for you, and you're being so strong. You are just being so strong, and we appreciate you being here with us tonight to talk about Devlin, because we don't see that all the time in these cases. Devlin needs somebody to advocate for him, and I it's so hard for you, I'm sure, being the only one
Today
that's
is
doing that.
not. Today has not been a good day, to say the least, at all. My mental health is not okay right now.
I'm so
I
sorry,
understand.
Jessica. This is hard. It's very hard. So,
I
Yeah.
just need my
So they're
son
doing
found. At the end of the day, I want Devlin found.
right. We do too. We do too. I mean, I just don't understand really why they're saying somebody knows something. I know they do. They just need to talk, but they won't. So
There's no way
everybody's
that nobody knows anything. It's been 6 months, and nothing makes sense. His social media presence has completely vanished.
Yeah.
His brother was hospitalized right before his disappearance and got released days before his disappearance. There's no way that he wouldn't call me and check up on his brother.
Right. You know your child.
Tell us more about that, Jessica. Tell us more about how Devlin is, just for all the viewers, because we're multi-streaming, so you're going to have more people listening. But tell us a little bit about the relationship and how Devlin is with the phone. When he has somebody's phone number and they're a family member, how is he like? Explain that to us, please.
So there's a 3-hour time difference between Yuma, Arizona, and Michigan. And, the time difference can be confusing for adults. Lady Freedom and I got confused the other day when it comes to the time difference and trying to figure out, when we were going to go live the other night. And,
Yes.
for special needs 19-year-old, it can be even harder for them. He didn't understand the time difference. Devlin would blow my phone up at all hours of the night. It didn't matter what I was doing. If I did not answer my phone when it was convenient for Devlin would call the Yuma County Sheriff and have them come do a welfare check on me and his baby brother, because he knows about all of my health problems and all his brother's health problems.
That's so sweet. It is.
He video chatted and talked to his brother on the phone almost every day. AJ's nonverbal and he couldn't talk back, but Devlin would sure talk to his baby brother and make animal sounds and all kinds of stuff for him.
Aw.
Oh, it's so heartbreaking. It is. It is. Well,
And he's just kind of, that's part of his routine, is to call everybody that he knows and loves. Like, I know he called Tina a lot. Tina's in our chat.
hello, Tina. Good to see you.
So it's just not like him to not call anybody, and he relies on other people so much that, like, and even if he did say lose his phone, don't you think that he would have gone to some, because we talked about how he knows to go to like ask
Devlin
somebody,
is
or
not
maybe he would have, you
Devlin
know,
is not afraid to go up to anybody. If Devlin is in a jam and there's something going on and he needs something, he's not afraid to go up to a perfect stranger. Hey, something happened. I need to call my mom. Can I use your phone? Devlin's not afraid to do that. He wouldn't hesitate.
yeah, so it's just odd because even if he ditched his phone somewhere and he did decide to say, just a theory. So say Devlin decided to just, leave, but he ditched his phone at the trailer park because to the best of our knowledge, the last time the trailer park, or excuse me, the last time the phone pinged was at the trailer park. And so say that happened, but then he would have needed to get to a phone, or he would have used his credit card. Like, he didn't use any resources that he had after a certain point that day, to the best of my knowledge.
Or since then, and it's been 6 months. So how is he eating? How is he drinking? And Lady Freedom, I sent you the other day a list of phone numbers of every phone number that my son had from the short time that he had come back in my life. Because when he went missing, it hadn't even been a year yet. Devlin never went very long without a phone.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, even the phone he had a broken screen, but it still worked.
Yep.
Like, he could still use it to call or whatever he needed to do. I just feel like
Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
And once a phone wasn't usable, he would only go a few days until he had another one.
Okay, thank you, Tricia. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to mute and let y'all speak because apparently all this it's picking up other sounds. So hang on. No, hang on. I don't really know how to do that, but we'll take care of it. Okay.
It should just be that little microphone. Oh, we lost Little Red. But so Jessica, I'm trying to think of where we should go back to, because I know like a lot of people have followed the case. A lot of people are very knowledgeable. And we have family in the chat as well. Hey, Carrie Jackson. So let's maybe go back to when you first started talking with Devlin, and there were some issues going on, and you kind of knew about these issues that were going on with Sabrina and Devlin and Tamra, really, too. So Tamra, Sabrina, quite possibly her boyfriend Will.
Not quite possibly, according to a text message I have stating that he was going around with all three of them.
Right. Yeah, that was concerning. I mean, obviously, because he was in the mix there, and according to Tamara, she said that he never even came out of his bedroom, that he would, hang out there and Devlin would be in it with him.
I can't even believe anything that comes from any of them anymore.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't believe them personally that, he only stayed in his bedroom. Who does that, right? When you live with everybody. I mean, he'd have to come out to eat and grab something to drink. He'd come out to use the bathroom, things like that, shower.
Well, I mean, I've done that before in a living situation where I felt completely uncomfortable around the people that I was living with. So, I mean, I can relate to that in a sense, but anything else I would have to say about Will and my son without Ray to back it up, it would be nothing more than hearsay because I don't have proof. It all happened over a video chat where Devlin was telling me and my boyfriend at the time, and still my best friend, that Will was threatening him. I don't know much more than that, and Ray can, confirm it, but I don't have proof other than, the words coming out of our mouths. Devlin's not here to confirm it.
Right.
Right. And I appreciate you always giving receipts. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing is that you're always trying to provide, like a text message or something to show everybody, look, this is what I'm talking about. I am not just talking, out of my butt or blowing smoke. I'm honestly, trying to provide you with the best information. And that's the most important thing, right? Because our memories can fail us sometimes. And even if it's not deliberate and somebody's not deliberately lying, maybe their recall is wrong, right? So it's important to have receipts.
Right.
Yeah, and speaking of receipts, I love the most recent post from Tammy calling me a liar and how I didn't call the FBI, this, that, and the other, when I have call logs to prove that I had a 38-minute conversation with them.
Oh, wow.
And how do you feel about that conversation? What did you take away from that conversation?
They said that they were going to look into it, but I haven't heard anything back from them ever. And that took place, I believe, on June 27th. But I would have to look back at the screenshots to confirm, or if Lady Freedom has them available, because I sent them to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have those, lady? Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. Yeah, and look in my text because I do know you sent them to me, Jess. I just don't. Let me go through and look.
I believe I
Because I
sent them
remember you sent
yesterday.
me the call logs. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, that's kind of, Jessica and I's relationship, like, we'll talk about something and I'll say, do you think you had like a text message from that time period and stuff? And so that's what we've been going back and forth. And right here, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Yuma, Arizona, is, what's this business? Then she clicks the number and yeah, there was a conversation between them. So yep.
Now, the FBI, they're much like some the other missing child's case. They're not really able to step in unless the police department says, "Hey, we need more help," right? But this police
Yeah,
department,
but when it crosses state lines, though, isn't that different? Because I'm in Arizona, he went missing in Michigan.
okay. How's that, Lady Freedom? What do you think about that part?
I mean, I think that it could possibly be looked at, but there has to be some sort of, it's my understanding that there has to be some sort of a crime that was committed interstate, right? Like from, like say somebody traveled from one state to the other, took Devlin out of the state. If we knew that someone took him out of the state, then the Federal Bureau would be involved. To the, to the best of my knowledge, Ionia County Sheriff's Office is the one that holds jurisdiction. And I don't know that the FBI could step in at this point if they're not invited. Same thing with Sebastian's case.
I thought it was completely different when it crosses state lines and it's a missing person case.
Now, if there was proof that Devlin had gone across state lines, possibly. Because if we had proof.
What about his threats, though? The reason why I stayed and didn't come home right away.
Yeah, I mean, that would be something that I would ask them about. There's, there's no harm in asking, but I will say that Bonnie's Journeys had a question. She says, he didn't have a bedroom, did he? And to the best of my knowledge, Bonnie, from what I was told by Tamara, is when it was just Tamara and Devlin living in the house, that he did have his own bedroom. And when I looked up the house on the internet, it showed that it is a 2-bedroom house with 1 bathroom. But with that being said, when Sabrina moved in with her son, and well, I'll just say Sabrina's son and her boyfriend moved in, then Devlin
Uh-huh.
didn't have a room anymore. But according to Tamara, Devlin was in jail at the time and she didn't know that he was going to be coming back. Jessica, you can say, however you want that. Oh, I think we might have lost Jessica.
I'm
she's
here. I'm
not. I can
sorry.
see
What
her.
was
Yeah,
that?
yeah, it's okay.
Well, I just wanted your take on things of what happened with that bedroom situation, because according to Tamara, she
Ye-
says that, she in fact did
So,
take his
so when
bedroom, but
Devlin first, yeah, so when Devlin first moved in with Tammy, he had the back bedroom, and she claims that Sabrina moved in when Devlin was in jail. That's bullshit. Tammy, or not Tammy, Sabrina moved in before Devlin went to jail. And on top of that, as soon as Sabrina, her boyfriend, and the kid moved in, Julius, who, let me correct that too, because it's stated that Julius belongs to Will. No, he doesn't. Julius is not Will's son. Julius is Joe Cook's son. But as soon as they moved in, Devlin was forced out into the living room.
Right. That's what we heard.
interesting. And Sprinkle Donut's here. Hi, Sprinkle
Yeah,
Donut.
Sprinkle Donut, welcome in. It's good to see you. Okay, everybody, Sprinkle Donut is my co-host for the Little Red and Sprinkled Experience, which is our live call-in show that we're trying to get going. But I really wanted to help with Devlin's case because it just calls to me, right? So I know I don't really do true crime, but this case is important to me. So welcome, Sprinkle Donut, and we'll continue. Yes, good to see you.
Need
Yeah. So, all right. Here's something I wanted to ask y'all about. Now we're talking about Matt's house. We're talking about him living in Matt's house. Is this correct?
No, it is Sandra's house. It's Bill and Sandra's. They own it. When I was first married to Tim, they weren't living there. It was just Sandra and Bill. In fact, Tammy didn't live where Tammy currently lives. Tammy lived in Hastings with a guy by the name of Mickey Kelly. And Matt was living where Tammy currently lives.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know when Matt moved in there, but Matt was living there when I came back into Devlin's life.
Okay. And so that's not even been a whole year. Right.
No,
So,
well, it's been a year now, but he went missing.
Well, right. Right. So, so now we have, okay, because now Lady Freedom, I'm going to take you back to this over here because this is kind of where we kind of left off the other day talking about this, because, there's always this question, how in the world were these two people, and you know who I'm talking about, allowed to live in the same house with children? Matt and Lorraine.
Yeah, that's a great question because see, Matt
I
and
want to
Lorraine
know how that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, because Matt and Lorraine have charges, and they're pertaining to child abuse, sexually, and so
In nature, right?
right in nature, and that is something where they're both registered already, right? Excuse me, RSO.
So we have right. We have registered sex offenders. We have Devlin, and we have all these people that have ended up living in this one house after Bill passed away. Correct? They all kind of ended up living there. We don't know exactly what month each set of the people moved into this house, but they all ended up living there.
No, Sandra and Bill have their own house in Hastings, Michigan.
Okay.
Which is about 20 miles away from Lake Odessa. Now, the house in Lake Odessa, that's where Tamara was living with Devlin. And then Devlin had gotten in trouble, went to jail for a little while. And then whenever Devlin's well, I won't even say it like that because it's way too confusing. Sabrina is Tammy's daughter who moved in
Uh-huh.
with her boyfriend Will Hartman and Sabrina's little boy Julius. So
Okay.
there's two households, and Matt does live with Sandra, right? And Bill Tate did pass away in 2023.
Okay. So there are other family members that are small children now living in the same house with Matt. Is that right?
Devlin was living in the house with Matt at one point in time, before
Okay.
he had to go to Tammy's. Julius
Okay.
lived with Tammy.
Okay.
Apparently now they're in Lansing living their best life.
Oh God. Right.
That's what her
I
Facebook
just
says. That's what she put on her Facebook.
another one
Sabrina.
of those, right? Yeah.
After
You know how
she
that
stole
always
the
happens.
reward money from Devlin, after she stole Devlin's reward money, she moved to Lansing and she put on her Facebook, "I'm living my best life."
Okay.
Now,
I mean,
everybody that's followed Sebastian's case, could you imagine if Katie had come out and just wrote that on her Facebook page? I mean, I'm just saying.
well, she didn't really have to because we see it, right? Anyway, that's
No, but I
okay.
mean,
That was
people would have gone
wrong.
bonkers,
Shouldn't have
right?
said that.
People would have
Okay.
gone bonkers. No, you're right, Little
You're
Red.
right.
I shouldn't have started it, but I'm just saying, if
It's okay.
Katie did something like that, wow, you know.
Right? Okay. Hang on, let me turn this in. I mean, it's just kind of like there's so many things that happened in this little short period of time in the living situation that Devlin had that it's like nobody really noticed or paid attention. But I really think that this why am I hearing this back noise something?
Yeah, I hear it too.
You hear that too? I don't know what it's from, but I'm hearing some kind of back noise that has popped on.
Yeah,
Hang
I
on a
think we have
second.
to mute our mics if we're not talking. So whoever's not talking, just mute your mic.
Okay, let me see if I can let me see if this stops. Hang on a minute, Sprinkle. Let me see if this stops it. Did it stop? Okay.
Yeah, it stopped. It
Yeah, it
stopped once
stopped.
everybody muted.
Okay. Okay, hang on. Let me anyway, so I think that to me there's some weird things that happen there, and I really think that if you just went back to the first month when Devlin actually got in trouble, okay, we're going to go all the way back there, and then Little Red and Devin was as a child due to yes, right. I know that, Carrie. Thank you. But there is something that happened. Remember, okay, so let's talk about the fine he had. So Devlin gets a little bit of trouble and he gets this fine, right? He knows he's going to move to his mother's house. And he's kind of preparing for that, right? Then he, for whatever reason, pays this fine, but then with somebody's credit card, and then she decides that she didn't authorize that, and then she files another charge. Then, how many months after that was it that he went missing? Lady Freedom, do you know that? Hello?
Well, I'm so sorry. I didn't know if you were asking me or not. So,
Oh yeah, I'm trying to ask both of y'all because
go ahead,
I'm
Jessica.
not going to know that
Go ahead.
information.
Go ahead, please.
My mic was muted, so I'm sorry. So I'm a little confused about the question. Are you asking how long has it been since he stole the money to pay his fines, or how long has it been since he got the original charge?
I want to know how many months has it been since he used the unauthorized credit card to pay the fine with? Because she filed charges, is that right?
Okay, yeah, that was the month that he spent in jail in Ionia where Jack threatened his life. So it's been, he's been missing for 6 months, damn near. I want to say that happened probably 2 months, maybe 3 months at most before he went missing.
Before he went missing, okay. Now, was there a lot of
It happened in
arguments
the
and
winter.
fights? Okay. Was there a lot of
Oh my
arguments and
God.
fights about that in the family?
There was arguments and fights over everything. It didn't matter what it was. They would nitpick and start a fight with anything when it came to Devlin. They did try to put him on blast with me, and they tried to put me in a corner. when Tammy asked me one day with Devlin sitting right there, well, what would you do if he were to steal your money? Well, one, he's my son. He wouldn't have had to steal my money. I would have given it to him. And two, if he were to steal my money, again, he's my son.
Right. I mean, I just kind of wonder, why would he, in my mind, I feel like he would not intentionally just steal money. I am in my mind thinking maybe he thought he was okay to pay this money because weren't they getting his check at that time?
No, he got cut off of it as soon as he turned 18.
Okay.
When I came back into his life 2 weeks after he turned 18, he was no longer receiving SSI.
Okay. All right. So I'm just trying to backtrack and see if any of those little events had something to do as to why he went missing. If there was some kind of family dynamics there because of that incident that just boiled into some huge, where he might have been injured and people were kind of not really being honest about it. So I was just asking questions like that to figure if that had anything to do with it. So, because, you know, when it comes to money, people act weird. So
yeah, they do. But if they were going to act weird and do something over that, you figure it would probably have been done way before he got the B&E or anything else. Like that happened a while before he went missing. Wouldn't it have happened right away if it was involving that?
I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to ask any question that I can about what would cause him to go missing, because I don't think he went missing on his own. I just don't. There's a lot of questions
I don't believe so either.
Right.
Nothing adds up. Nothing makes any sense. And my biggest concern goes back to the threat
Jessica,
from Ashley.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
My biggest concern goes back to the threats from Ashley when I first got back into Devlin's life, where she said that she would do anything in her power to keep me from my son. And, you know, then they got...
Foremost,
What is
okay, I think
going
Sprinkle
on?
Bone is trying to talk to us. Hang on. Sprinkle? Hello?
that's okay. I don't know if anybody can hear me. Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, we
Hello?
can hear you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
First of all, I want to tell Jessica, I am so incredibly sorry that she's going through this. I can't even imagine the nightmare that she's living. I can't even imagine. Do you think that there could have been some kind of information that Devlin knew about something that he was going to tell people about that would cause them to make him disappear?
I don't know. I can't answer that.
What does your gut tell you?
That they did something to my son, but I can't prove it.
Does your gut tell you a reason why?
To keep him away from me, because everything they've done is to keep him away from me. Ashley said that she'd do anything and everything in her power to keep him from me. There was a comment made by Tammy in the beginning that she wouldn't reveal her source or who said it, but somebody told her that whatever happened to Devlin, they didn't do it to hurt Devlin, but to hurt somebody that cares about him deeply. Well, that would be me.
Yeah. Wow.
The whole reason why he was on probation and had that fine anyway was for a false domestic violence charge that they put on him to try to keep him away from me. He was supposed to move out here September 26th of last year, and they put the domestic violence charge on him in a failed attempt to keep him away from me.
Wow, God, I am so sorry. That's just so unfair. So unfair.
So the domestic violence charge, let me ask you this, because I don't know what in the world Who is he accused of hitting or violating, or exactly what did he do to get this charge?
He didn't do a damn thing because he was
Right.
in another location on video chat with me. However, Matt is the one that made the report and called it in, and supposedly he put hands on Sandra.
Okay. Now, you know that didn't happen because you have proof. You got the proof he was on video chat with you at that time. Was he able to provide that proof to the police department before he went missing?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Because.
Or if he even would they even believe him if he tried?
Yes, I mean, if you have receipts, yes, they would. Hey, I was on my phone with my mom. Here's her phone. Here's my phone. Look, there's no way I could have been doing that at that time. So
because they didn't even call that charge. They didn't even call that charge in until the day after it supposedly happened.
Okay. See, it goes back to this Matt guy. Now, I'm going to step out here and say this. And I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just putting all of these things together. And it just kind of seems to me that there's some kind of problem between Matt and Devlin.
Where'd you
Because
guys
all
go?
of the things that we've heard happen,
Okay, hold on. You guys disappeared and I didn't hear anything you said.
All right. It's okay. Okay, can you hear me?
Kind of. You keep cutting in and out.
Sorry.
I'm going to hold on to this. I don't think it's me. For some reason, we have some kind of something that's happening within. Last night we had hell with YouTube, but with StreamYard. But anyway, the question I have is, it seems to me, based on everything that we've heard, there was some kind of problem really between Matt and Devlin, because every time something happens, Matt seems to be in the middle of or part of it. So that's how it appears to me. I don't know how it appears to anybody else, but this last charge that Matt did was just like, it's like he would just do anything he could because he wasn't getting financial help from Devlin anymore. Does it seem like that to you?
I mean, I don't know if I can speak to the financial part of it.
Okay.
Why am I staticky? What is going on? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you, but you are staticky though, Jess.
Very
Staticky.
staticky.
It's okay.
Okay, let me try something. Let me get my Bluetooth out.
I was going to say, we'll just work through it. However it works, we'll just work through it. It's fine. Hey, Joseph Rapp. Hey, Mama. It's so good to see everybody. I'm so glad y'all came in so we could all talk about this. Hey, GA64. Brenda.
Oh my God, now I just lost all sound.
But you're clear. You're absolutely clear. We can hear you.
We can hear you really good now.
It's really clear.
Yeah.
What in the hell is going on?
Mama,
Okay,
we have
Freedom.
Jessica, who is Devlin's mom, on the panel, and Sprinkle Donut is with us, and we also have Little Red.
Okay.
Mama was asking who's the
That's
panel.
the question. She goes, how did Devlin get the money to pay his fines? Okay, so Lady Freedom, I'm going to let you answer that question to Carrie Jackson.
Yeah, so to the best of my knowledge, Devlin wanted to pay his fine, which was to the tune of $400, and so he decided to illegally transfer funds from Tamara's account into his account in order to pay his restitution that he owed on the domestic violence charge, which to my knowledge, I've heard a couple of different stories about that, but one of them was that Devlin grabbed Sandra's face and made her look at him, is what they said. So when
Yes,
they say
that is
put hands
supposedly
on
what.
her, I just kind of want to let everybody know that it wasn't like he slapped his grandma or excuse me, his adopted mom or anything like that. To the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah,
See,
that's what they claimed that he did. You were exactly right, and that is what he took the money for, or how he did it. Everything that Lady Freedom is saying is completely true. The only thing is, how could he do that to Sandra's face when he was in a different location on video chat with me when it happened?
look, I have a
Right.
question
Great
in
point.
regards to transferring this money. How did he get access to this account that he allegedly took the money from to put in his account to pay the fine?
He waited until everybody was sleeping, and he admitted this to me, so he did do it. He waited until
Okay.
everybody was sleeping. He went on to Tammy's phone and direct deposited it from her bank account into his PayPal account.
Okay. Without her knowledge.
Yep, without her knowledge or her
Do you
permission.
do you think he would tell you that he did that if he didn't? Because what kind of comes to my mind is almost a setup. Like them telling him that he can do this, and then when he does it, they say, "Oh, we didn't give you permission to do that." And then they throw him under the bus. I don't know why that just hit my gut, but it hit my gut.
Oh no, Devlin outright told me everything. He did do it. He did
Okay.
not have
Okay.
permission. He did do it.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm not gonna
do
stick
you
up
have
for
your
my
TV up?
son.
Do you have your TV up, Jessica?
Uh,
Like, do
can you
you
guys
have
still hear
YouTube
it?
on the TV playing?
Yep. I was wondering if everybody could
AJ
hear that.
has YouTube on the TV.
That's probably what
Or
we're
because
hearing.
I think that's where maybe the echo, maybe that's the echo. Okay, I'm sorry. I just, somebody had said that and I said, oh yeah, that's probably it. Veronica, thanks,
Yeah.
Veronica.
Here, let me see if I
And we
can
know
get his
Magic.
tablet to turn back on, and I'll put him in his bedroom.
It's okay,
The thing
Jessica. We
about it,
appreciate you being
Devlin.
here. Oh, sorry, Little
Okay, go
Red.
ahead.
Go ahead, hon.
I was going to say the thing about it is we know Devlin was autistic, and the one thing we do know about autistic children is they don't normally lie. They tell you what
True.
they've done. I mean, they're very honest. They don't see things of the gray. It's either black or white. They did it or they didn't do it. So I can see Devlin being completely honest with his mother, with Jessica, about whatever he's done. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. It was just a thought that went through my head that they were trying to set
right,
him up for something, because he
right. I
wasn't
can see
treated
that
well.
too.
He wasn't
Right.
treated well at all. So what's going to stop them from, and knowing that he's autistic and knowing he has challenges, to do something like that just to mess with him and cause him trouble?
Right. Keep him there. Right.
Yeah,
Keep him from going to Jessica's house. Keep him in
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
I see that. So I just feel like there's something that they are not telling us that happened in that household within a few days before your child was missing. I don't know what it is, but from the
I agree.
stories I can
I
walk it
agree.
around,
I agree.
we know what his habits were, we know where he went, we know when he came home. I mean, there's all these different things about him, but they're just leaving out a few hours of part of those days. Why? What hiding?
Because generally, before anything happens, if you think back on a lot of cases, before anything happens, before somebody's unalive, before somebody disappears, there's always something, an argument, a fight, a disagreement. There's an incident that leads up to it. Always.
Always, right?
Always.
Always.
There's nothing that I can think of where that has not happened. So something definitely happened. I totally agree with you 150%.
Then they talk about, okay, now we're going to talk about the chair for a minute. Remember the recliner, okay? We kind of touched on this last time about this recliner and how then it was in the living room and he was sleeping in that. And then it was supposedly put in the yard and he was sleeping in that. Now, they're saying that never happened. It was never in the yard. Lady Freedom, didn't we hear it was in the yard or something? I'm going to let you take over from there.
Yes. So with the chair situation, it was said that um, a couple of nights before, and I did put receipts in the video that I made.
Okay.
Before Devlin went missing, there was an issue. So how we can remember it best, April 21st is when what excuse me, I almost said Sebastian, when Devlin went missing, right? 2025. So he's been missing about 6 months now, almost approaching 6 months. Um, so you have the Saturday before Easter is when this happened. Um, and then you have Easter Sunday, the very next day, Devlin goes missing, and he did have court the next day, but he went missing, so he missed that court date. Um, so there was an incident where Tamara called Devlin a crybaby bitch boy, and Jessica inquired about that through a text message. So that's how we have that correspondence. And it was said, and it was asked by Jessica, why did Sabrina and Devin get into it? Um, so with that being said, sorry guys, I'm getting feedback for some reason and I don't know why. Could you guys mute your mics when, like, I think if everybody mutes when only when you're not talk or only when you're talking, unmute your mic, I think works. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you guys. Sorry. I could just hear it really bad. So going back, so Jessica asks Tamra why Sabrina and Devlin are getting into it and why he was pushed into the recliner, right? And they have a conversation about that I put into the video. So there's receipts there. So go check those videos out. There's a playlist on Devlin Tate. And basically, Tamra says that Devlin's a liar, that he only tells people what he wants them to hear, and that didn't happen. So they're denying it, but Devlin is saying that it did happen, right? So he's complaining to his mother and saying, "Hey, they're picking on me, they're being, whatever, they're pushing me into the recliner." Now, it's also been stated that neighbors have seen Devlin sleeping in the recliner in the yard, but they maintain, now this is Tamara and Matt Tate are maintaining that Devlin never slept in the recliner in the yard, only in the house, because he didn't have a bedroom. He either slept in the recliner or the floor.
Well, with that, who has something to lose by the neighbor has nothing to lose by saying that happened. They have a lot to lose by saying that happened. So, of course, they're going to deny that.
I agree. I agree. And they have denied everything. They also say that it's not abuse for him to sleep on the floor. They say that it's not abuse to withhold the electricity, which in my opinion, believe it is abuse. The very first time I heard of that, I thought, wow, that's a new form of abuse.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because the laws are very strict on what you have to provide for a child in your home. You do have to provide a bed. You do have to provide electricity, running water, food. You don't have to have a room per se. You don't have to have fancy furniture, but there's minimum basic standards that have to be provided for a child in a home. And it does not seem like they were providing those at all.
Do you think it's because he was 18 and like he's not considered a child? But we know he just turned 18. So I understand they weren't providing before he turned 18. But by the time he could actually say something about it, he was already 18. So, I don't know. I don't know how the law would have looked at that. It is absolutely abuse. I 100% agree. And, Devlin is vulnerable. He just was. Because of his autism and his other problems. But I don't know. There's something about that too that really just weirds me out with this whole situation, because you move this child from one room to the living room to the yard. I mean, how much more clear can you make it that we want you out of here? They forced him to become homeless with all this crap. I don't think that he realized that's what they were absolutely doing. I'm not sure.
Well, and he's
No.
in survival mode, right? So all of the trouble that
Right.
he was getting into, a lot of it had to do with the fact that his resources were cut off. And in my opinion, when somebody doesn't have the proper coping mechanisms to deal with something like that, that's where you will see some issues, right? I mean, they were pouring out, the issues were pouring out, and there was no masking them anymore in that family, in my opinion.
God. Let me answer this real quick. Now the chair, the supposed chair that he was sleeping in the yard, has now disappeared. Now let's wonder why.
Okay, to my knowledge, he was not sleeping outside. He was made to sleep on the floor inside or in the recliner inside. I was never told by my son or anybody else that he was ever forced to sleep outside. The only time to my knowledge that he was sleeping outside is when he was homeless and out on the streets.
Okay. But that just happened right before he disappeared, right?
No, that was going on right before he moved into the quote unquote militia house.
Okay. Militia house. Okay. And the militia house is whose house?
I don't know. There was a group of men that were staying there, as well as my son, but it was all older men. And Matt is the one that is saying that the house was ran by the Michigan militia. Those are Matt's words.
That is
And
so
just
dangerous.
Yeah, the Michigan militia are a bunch of guys that kind of got together. They're extremely right-wing radical. And so that's why it's concerning to me that Devlin had connections there in case something was seen or heard. I have not taken that off the table, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm going to bring something up because it was said in the chat. So Pebbles says, it's your child and you're letting him sleep in the floor. Pebbles. So this goes back a long time ago. Jessica did not have physical custody of her child. He was living with other family members in a whole nother state. He was about to move to his mother's house. Yeah, he was moving to his mother's house in Arizona, but magically he just disappeared a few days before he was supposed to do that. So no, she did not allow him to sleep at the floor. He was in a situation that he was put in. So yeah, so she says he is still a minor. Law is at 21 and older. Okay, thank you, Pebbles. I wasn't sure how Michigan looked at that. Thank you for letting us know that. So yeah, he was still a minor until he's 21 years old, according to Pebbles. So
well, a Michigan judge did deem him responsible for himself because Sabrina tried to get guardianship over Devlin, and the judge denied that and said that he was perfectly capable of, overseeing himself, and the guardianship was not necessary. And that's a judge that was overseeing Devlin for the 18 years he was on, alive. So, I mean, that judge wasn't just like someone who had the case, on his desk. And I mean, he knew Devlin's situation. He knew the family. In my opinion, there was a major failure there.
Right. And so, I mean, that clears that up. Yeah.
And the guardianship stuff, that was going on literally right before he disappeared. And he had sent me text messages within days of his disappearance, asking me what did I say to Sabrina when she talked to me about guardianship. Yeah, I said what any, mom protecting her son would say. You can go shove it, and it didn't go well. That conversation didn't go well. And when he sent me that voice clip, his voice didn't sound right. You can clearly hear something going on in the background, but for the life of me, I can't make it out. And when he wanted me to call him as soon as possible, and he sent me that voice clip, he also told me that he was going rounds with Tammy, Will, and Sabrina. And as soon as he said that he was going rounds with them is when he sent me that voice clip asking me what we talked about when we talked about adult guardianship.
Okay. So clearly there was an issue between those people. I just want to know why they were so upset with him. What is it that they wanted that they weren't getting that was pushing them to have these rounds that you're talking about over and over? What did they want from him? What they knew that he was planning on coming to your house. Okay, so the militia people bought the bus ticket to send Devlin to his mother's. So they did think highly of Devin and would not hurt him. You're right about that. There's no way they would hurt him if they bought the ticket. They had every intention for him to go there. But it didn't happen because something happened between the people the house he was staying at.
No. Okay. People have mixed this story up so much it's not even funny. Okay, so the whole bus ticket thing, that happened before he went back to Tammy's, before he was court ordered to stay at Tammy's. That all happened. And that happened without even my knowledge. I didn't know that the bus ticket was purchased until after the bus ticket was purchased. And the only thing that stopped Devlin from getting on the train and coming to me, because it was actually a train ticket, was the fact that Devlin lost his state ID. Come to find out, the whole time, Carl's had his state ID. The same place that Lass has him on footage. But the thing that prevented him from getting on that train was the fact that he lost his state ID. However, he was on probation when all this was happening. And, me being the responsible parent, once I did find out, oh no, I'm not going to catch a case for aiding and abetting. You're going to finish your court stuff out. Finish your probation, get off paper, and then, you can come down here once you're off paper. I regret it. I should have bought him a bus ticket and got him here regardless, because Michigan won't extradite on anything less than a felony murder charge from over 4 states away. And I'm in Yuma, Arizona. That's more than 4 states away. Okay. So I feel like I failed my son.
No, I don't. Please don't say that, because I don't think you did. We all, hindsight is 2020. We know that. And we all have things that we wish we could have. If we would have known A was going to happen, we would have done something else, right? So please don't feel like you failed him, because I don't think you did. You love your son. You're doing the best you can to help find him. But here's a question that came up about this, and I think it's a good question. Why was he court ordered to stay with Tammy? Why?
That's a question I would love to know the answer to. I even tried to get a hold of his probation officer. I called his probation officer myself and left several messages, trying to get a hold of her and explain the situation and how they were treating my son. And we were going to try to get his probation moved down here to Arizona. But Mackenzie refused to answer my calls.
Well, I wonder why. Well, because I guess because he was 18 years old, and I don't know why he wouldn't tell you the information. Well, yeah, I don't know. I wished I knew that too. But
because I'm
by Little Red, I think you're right. I mean, I don't think it's fair to beat yourself up over it, Jessica, because you were doing the best you could do. If it was my son, I would want him to finish everything up and take care of what he needed to take care of, be responsible. So please don't do that. I mean, I know it's hard not to.
You were setting him up to do the right thing. You were telling him how to do the right thing, showing him what to do. That's not, you have nothing to do with this. I'm sure that I'm sure I would probably feel the same way. I'm sure we all would.
Yeah, if I would have helped him skip state, he wouldn't be missing right now. I should have helped him skip state.
Yeah, but then you would be in trouble, and that's not going to help your younger son, because you have other children at home too that you have to think about as well.
But Devlin would not be missing.
Well, but this all goes back to the system.
Guys, too, in terms of the Michigan militia. So we know that Devlin had built some sort of a bond or relationship with the Michigan militia guys right when he was living on Blair Street with them. Their house did subsequently get raided by the police. All of their guns and all the drugs that were in the house were seized, okay, according to what Tate was telling us. And so we're dealing with people that are really in the best frame of mind. And so my theory on if it was someone connected with the Michigan militia is that maybe they are, harboring Devlin, not in order to hurt him, but in order to, protect him and save him from the situation he was in. And so that's why I'm saying that I'm not. I mean, guys, I'm about 90% sure the Tates have something to do with this, right, Sabrina?
Amen.
Guilty knowledge from
I'm right there
Tamara,
with you.
right? So, but I'm saying I don't close myself off to all possibilities when we really don't know. So I just want to put that out there for Carrie Jo because I know she was saying that that's, they bought him a ticket. Why would they hurt him? I'm not saying they would hurt him. I'm saying they might be keeping him somewhere because he hasn't used his debit card. So if we're thinking about it from that perspective, he hasn't. That's what he could use to barter. That's the money that he had, right?
Right.
It doesn't make
So
sense for him to go this long with me not hearing anything or the social media presence disappearing. That's not my son. He could not go this long without making sure that me and AJ are okay.
That's your child, and I can see that that definitely tells you that if he had access to a phone, he would be contacted. So yeah,
The
somebody
only
has
way
YouTube on. That's why we keep hearing it.
he's all the way in his room. Hold on.
Okay, so sorry. Anyway,
but yeah, no, I mean that's why I was interested in hearing more about the connections that he made at the Michigan Militia House. Also, I haven't discounted Zach Thompson, who said that if he saw Devlin on the street, he would, he threatened to kill him, so I can't discount that either. There was also talk from Tamara that there was a Life 360 ping from Devlin's phone that these other children had on their Life 360, and the only way that you can, ping somebody on a Life 360 is if they give you permission from their own phone. So that's, assuming
I would
Devlin gave
really
permission
love
for
to
that.
touch on that.
please
Okay, go
do.
ahead,
Okay,
Jessica.
Jessica, please do.
So, Lady Freedom and I had quite the long conversation last night before we both hung up and went to bed. Come to find out, the person who pinged my son's phone was a little girl by the name of Marie. And apparently, people are trying to say that Marie is Zach Thompson's girlfriend. No, she's not. She has nothing to do with Zach or his girlfriend. Zach's girlfriend is a Danica Palmer. Marie was Devlin's little underage girlfriend, who I was completely against the relationship because Devlin was 18. And the mother, Marie's mother, told my son that if the relationship did not end, that my son was going to end up catching a case. Marie was Devlin's girlfriend. It was not a bully that pinged my son's phone. It was his girlfriend that pinged my son's phone on Life 360.
Okay.
I have
Lady
a question
Freedom.
about the phone.
Okay.
I have a question
Go
about
ahead,
the phone. The phone is still active. It's just turned off?
To my knowledge, the phone is not active anymore. To my
It's not.
knowledge, the phone was supposed to shut off within days of him disappearing.
So when you call his number, what happens? Does it say it's no longer in service?
I can't, it doesn't do anything when I call it anymore.
How long after he disappeared, did his phone remain active? Because there's a difference between being inactive and being turned off. And did his phone have a plan that had to be paid for? Or was that a free phone for him?
The last phone he had, he apparently bought at Family Dollar. So I think it was one of those pay as you go phones. I'm not really sure because the phone that I bought for him and that I was paying for, he ended up breaking before I could turn it back on.
Oh, good Lord have mercy.
Lady Freedom, let me ask you a question. Now, I don't know who the Zach person is. Who is that?
I can explain that too.
Okay, please do, Jessica.
So Zach Thompson has a baby, has a daughter. She's not a baby anymore. Has a daughter with my cousin Amber Anderson. They live in Ionia off of Bellamy Road. My cousin does. And I met Zach Thompson personally in 2020 because I came back to Michigan for a week.
Hey,
And the last
Jessica.
day I was,
Hey, Jessica. Can
yeah.
everybody just wait a second? Because you're gonna have to repeat that.
What?
It's really
Wait, what
choppy.
is going
Guys,
on?
when
Lady Freedom?
somebody's not talking, just mute your mic so that way, because there's way too much
Hello?
feedback.
Oh my God, what just happened?
I hear you, Jessica. But if you're not the one speaking, don't have your mic on, please, because it's causing so much feedback that we can't understand what she's saying. Thank you so much, ladies.
What is going on? Why can't I hear anything now?
Okay, I can hear you, Jessica. All right.
Jessica,
hear-
just start over from what you were saying to begin
Yes,
with, and
start over.
everybody else
Thank
keep
you.
your mic muted. And Jessica, just talk how you are. You sound really good now.
Yeah, I can hear you guys now too. I don't know what just happened, but like I lost all sound and I couldn't hear anything.
I asked everybody to mute their mics because when everybody has their mic on and they're not talking, then it's causing feedback. So you're the only one that's going to talk now. But could you start over with Zach Thompson? Little Red asked about what Zach Thompson, where he comes into the picture. Tell us about Zach Thompson, and everybody else, please mute your mics and go.
Okay, so back in 2020, I went back home to Michigan for a week. And the last day that I spent there, I spent in Ionia at my Aunt Laura and Uncle Jeff's property on Bellamy Road, where my cousin Amber lives. And Amber has a daughter with Zach Thompson. That was the day I met Zach. And when Devlin went to Ionia County Jail for that month, apparently he was in jail with Zach. And he had called me one day and he let me know, that he was in jail with Zach. And Zach didn't believe him that he was my son and this, that, and the other. So I'm like, all right, put Zach on the phone. So he put Zach on the phone and I talked to Zach. I confirmed that, I am who Devlin said I was, and I was Devlin's mom. And then I proceeded to ask him, well, since you're in jail with my son, can you make sure, none of the inmates mess with my son? Make sure that Devlin's good while he's in there, Well, then I get a jail call from my son after Zach was released. And I don't know what took place in jail, but he told me that Zach was released before him. And upon Zach's release, he told my son as he was going out of the jail that if he saw my son on the street, that he would kill him. So and apparently they went to school together or something. Zach and Devlin knew each other for a while. I just didn't know that they knew each other. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm sorry. But in a way, Zach is kind of related to the family, I guess. In the sense that he has a baby with my cousin.
And just take your time, Jessica, but you know, you're doing great. I know it's not easy.
It's really not. My mental health is not okay today. Like, please don't take this the wrong way because I'm not gonna do anything. You know, statistically speaking, if a parent commits suicide, their kids are 10 times more likely to do that themselves. So I can't do that to my children. But I have been in a very, very suicidal state of mind all day.
What can we do for you? Is there anything that we can do for you to help you?
Find my son?
Well, besides that, obviously, 100%. That's what we're all here for.
I understand. Jessica, okay, so we're going to talk about this for just a second. Myself and Sprinkle Donut have also lost children. They're not coming home. They're deceased. Okay, so we understand how bad this pain is. We understand. I know how hard it is, and I know you have another child. I know you have to think about them first, because honestly, when my child passed away, if I didn't have my baby here, that's how I felt. But I knew I had to take care of him. I promised God I would take care of this child. He gave me a child at 46 years old, so I understand. I do. But and every day is hard. And as it goes on more and more and more, you think you're never going to find your son. You think it's just going to be a cold case, and if not, you're not going to get any help. But I feel like we will find him. I don't feel like he's gone like that. I think we will find him. I just don't think, I don't know if he's not in Michigan anymore. I don't know, but I just feel like we will find him. Please don't give up hope. We are here. We're standing behind you
And
every
guys,
day.
you guys got to mute your mics if you're not talking, because Little Red, you sounded really good, but because the mics weren't muted, it was echoing really, really bad, and I didn't want to interrupt you because you sounded great. But I mean, we got to remember, guys. And then if you want to talk, we can see the little mic. So when someone's done talking, if somebody unmutes their mic, that means they want to talk. So then you unmute yours, because it's too hard for the viewers to listen to what we have to say. Okay, so I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that because it's really bad mute, or it's really bad echoing. I'm sorry, Little Red. Go for it.
It's okay. We were all muted. I was like, okay. Anyway, so as I was saying, Jessica's, I mean, every day you're going to get up and you're going to have those feelings. You are. I mean, I know. But every day that they haven't found him yet does not mean that they're not going to. That's what I'm going to say. I mean, in my case, day 3, they found him, so please don't do that.
Every day they don't find him, you still have hope, and you need to hold on to that hope. That's what you have right now to hold on to, and hold on to it as tight as you can hold on to it. The old adage, no news is good news. In this case, no news is amazing news. And you have to hold on to that as tightly as you can. I can't imagine how you feel. I mean, I can kind of understand because of losing my son, but I don't know how you feel. But I know it's painful, and I know it's painful, and you will get through it. You will get through it as hard as it is. You will get through it, whatever it is. You're going to get through it, but you have to take care of yourself so you can be well and you can be good. So when they do find him, that you're going to be here and you're going to be able to hug that baby again.
That's really well said. Jessica, go ahead, hon.
Holding out hope is getting harder and harder the longer it goes on. And when I'm told by a professional that he believes that Devlin is no longer with us and that he believes that foul play is involved, that brings it to a whole nother level. And when I feel it, and when his father feels it, the social media presence completely vanished. Everything that's like Devlin no longer exists.
that hope gets harder and harder to hold on to. And I mean, like I said, I'm not going to act on anything. My kids need me, and statistically speaking, and I was told this by a cop in Sacramento one day when I was having a really bad mental breakdown, that statistically speaking, if a parent commits suicide, their children are 10 times more likely to commit suicide. I cannot and I will not put my children through that. And if I do something, my son, I have a 3-year-old son who is completely NPO. He will not even drink water. And because of him being NPO, he is on a feeding tube. You know, the old adage, if they get hungry enough, they'll eat. No, they won't. AJ will literally starve himself to death. You know, and without me, AJ has nobody. I cannot do that to my son. But that doesn't solve the way that I'm feeling inside. You know, I want to go to sleep and I don't ever want to wake back up again.
I can
You're not
totally relate
supposed to
to
bury
that.
your children.
I've
They're
felt like
supposed to
that a
bury
million.
you.
Go ahead, Sprinkle Donut.
I would say I can totally relate to that. I have felt like that many, many times myself, so I know exactly that feeling. I know exactly that feeling. You don't want to hurt yourself. You just want to go to sleep and not wake up. And that's totally normal. That's totally normal. And you are entitled to every single thing you feel. We just don't want you to lose hope. We just want you to know that we're here and there's a lot of people behind you, and we're going to do whatever we can to bring this more into the public light so he can get more attention, and we can find him. And we can find him and get you some answers.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And, Jessica, I understand where you're coming from in terms of the depression being very debilitating, and it's absolutely hard to press on, but you're doing an amazing job, and I just want to tell you that, and just know that you have a support system here at the channels, and we want Devlin to be found. I mean, there's no other solution to this problem, you know what I mean? And I also do want to also let the chat know that you have a counselor too. And I know that, and I know that you've been working with your counselor as well, but it still doesn't change the facts that, and the fact that your son's missing.
Yeah, and it doesn't, I can have all the help in the world. That's not gonna, tell me where my son is, tell me what happened to my son. And without those answers, without that closure, I'm not gonna be okay. I need answers. I need to know where my son is. I need to know what happened to my son. And they can say that he's not my son until they're blue in the face. Guess what? He came out of me. That is my DNA flowing through that 19-year-old's veins. He is my son. And there's not a damn thing anybody can do or say that can take that away from me.
Jessica, you're right about that. You're right about that. That is your son. He will always be your son. No matter what, he will always be your son. I know. And I really wish that professionals would not have told you such negative things. And I understand you're trying to be real. I understand that you feel what you feel, and that's okay. You're allowed to do that. It's however you feel, it's however you feel. We get that. But I just think that sometimes these professionals say these things, but they don't really realize when they're telling you these things, how it personally affects you. So I'm glad you're speaking with somebody, and mental health is so important. A lot of people just ignore their mental health, but I can tell you right now, I went to mental health help because I needed it, and thank God I did. But whatever it is you need, I don't care if you just want to reach out and talk one day. You just let us know, because we're going to be here. I mean, I'm staying with this until he is found. I don't care if it's 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is, that's what I'm going to do, because this case calls out to me, because I don't even do true crime. That's really not what my channel's about. But I am very, very into Devlin and what happened to him, because I just know there's answers, and the people who have the answers know they have the answers, and they're going to get caught. I promise you that. I promise you that. Anyway, I'll let Lady Freedom take over. I just wanted to say that because I just want to reach out and hug you right now. I really do. But I know I can't do that through a TV screen or a laptop screen. But anyway, here you go. Lady Freedom, take over.
Oh, Little Red, thank you. Virtual hugs, right? Virtual hugs. And I think it's so important. And I think it's so important that Little Red, and also Sprinkle Donut having that experience and everything brings a lot to the table. And you, Little Red, talking about the autism part of this, and also with the chromosome deletion, it's a lot, right? It adds another layer to the story. It adds another layer of personality and individual. Everybody's an individual. I'll just say it like that. But Sprinkle Donut, go ahead.
I was just agreeing with you. I was just shaking my head in agreement. Absolutely, it adds a different layer to it. It adds a different layer to it.
As far as somebody, the person that told me their professional opinion, I asked for it. I literally asked this person in their professional opinion, do they think that Devlin is still alive out there? And this was in the beginning of Devlin's disappearance. So I asked for it. They didn't just come out and say it.
Statistically, probably that's why he told you that. But there have been a lot of cases where these kids were found many, many, many years later. There's more than one. There's more than one case where these kids were found and the parents were 100% certain their child was gone. And by the grace of God, those kids were found. And he can be one of those statistics just as well as he could be one of the statistics that he's not. You know what I'm saying? It can go either way. And we have to pray, and we have to pray, and we have to pray.
Yes, Sprinkle Donut, I'm right there with you. I am right there with you. I think that is one of the biggest things that we all can do is just pray for Devlin, pray for Jessica, pray for the family, pray for everybody. Just pray that he's found, because, we just don't know. We don't know. And we're trying to piece everything together. It's very difficult, right? Because there's a lot of holes in the timeline. There's a lot of inconsistent statements. And so those are the things that we're looking at. Last night I was on a live stream um, in the chat, and it's Nerdy Addict. If the mods could drop the link there, it was really a good show where they had Susan Constantine. She was plugging in statements to uh, a program or an app. I think it's called Deceptio or something like that. I'll get it and share it out because we're gonna do a live about it too. But it's basically AI where you're plugging in these statements and they're looking for keywords and they're picking them out for you, and then of course it gives you an analysis. Thank you, Decepto. Thank you, Little Red. So yeah, I think that would be a useful tool to use in any of these cases.
Now, I have not heard of that, but I want to hear about that because, okay, now we haven't talked about this yet, Lady Freedom, and I don't know if you want to or not, but the things I've requested that we don't have in our hands yet, but we will have. That would be things that we could actually plug into that. And we could just use that to practice with from their original cases. So that would be a lot. That would help, I think, because I really do think a lot of this goes back to these three people, and they do know the answers. The child did not just walk away. He wasn't his last track over by the water, but close to where he lived in that trailer park. Lady Freedom. I hope she heard me.
I'm so sorry. Yes, so absolutely. It was right by his old Parapro's house, in the trailer. So there's like a trailer park, and in the back there's kind of like, it kind of goes in like a horseshoe. But there's also little side, areas and things like that. It's not big, particularly. It's not very tiny either. There's probably about, I would say, like 60 homes, maybe 50. I don't know. I'm not the greatest with that part, but I will say that it was over there and it pinged at 11 p.m. to the best of my knowledge. And so with it pinging at 11 p.m. and Devlin wasn't seen or heard from until after about 9:30, because his brother, Matt, was on the phone with him at the laundromat around 9, and he said that he spoke to him for 30 minutes. But the last place that his food card was used was at Carl's Supermarket. So that's where we're left. And that's still way too early. And where was he at all day? Now, he used to go to Penny's Pizza and eat off the pizza buffet from whatever was left over. He never made it over to Penny's. Um, and Jessica, also, would you like to elaborate on what we spoke about last night in terms of the lady from Penny's Pizza that was across the street that was helping Devlin with his GED?
Thank you, Lady Freedom. I would like to touch on that, but I'd also like to touch on the comment that was just on the screen from a person by the name of Magic Star. Yeah, actually, I saw that post. That post was sent to me, and that's a major reason why my mental health has tanked today. As well as some other posts that were recently made from them that was sent to me this morning. I find that funny that they want to say some stuff about me when it was brought to my attention that people even asked them what my son's favorite color was, and their answer was, I don't know. I get asked my son's favorite color, and it was instantaneous. My son's favorite color is navy blue. I knew a lot about my son. I kept tabs on my son throughout his entire life by means of a woman by the name of Jody Reed, who is a friend of the family, was sending me pictures and updates and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I know a lot about my son. That's all lies. And that post that you're referring to is a major reason why my mental health tanked today. But to touch on that, Lady Freedom, yeah, I'm not going to mention any names, but I have been talking to a former CPS worker, and this former CPS worker knew my son or had a relative that knew my son, and their relative was the one that was working with my son at Penny's Pizza to try to get his GED.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Jessica, because I think it's really important. And all I have to say is I think they're a bunch of assholios for saying something like that, and I'm sorry that they said that to you.
Me too. I wish they wouldn't have said that, and I wish they wouldn't post things like that because here's the thing: they know you're reading these things. That is why they do it. They want to keep you upset because they're stupid. They're assholes. What they're doing, I'm sorry I didn't have my thing, but what they're doing is not helping at all. But because they are narcissistic sociopaths, as far as I'm concerned, that is why they do these things. It's not helping, and this is going to sound hard, but you're just going to have to not look at Facebook. I don't even look at Facebook. I just can't. Facebook is just nothing. To me, Facebook is the life everybody wishes they live because that's what they post over there, but that's not really how they live, which sounds a little. Anyway, I just think Facebook is just not the best place to talk about these things. And I wish they wouldn't do that to you. But here's something else I wanted to know about. Because this timeline now has a strange twist to it. Because it says on his flyer that last time he was seen or spoke to was 8:21 a.m. over at the store. But now I'm hearing that Matt said he talked to him on the phone later in the morning. Is that right, Lady Freedom? Please, can you clarify that for me?
Oh, yes. I'm so sorry. I was just I was reading the chat, and I'm sorry I wasn't paying full attention there. But I will say, really quick, and I'm sorry, Little Red, if you could ask it again. But I just wanted to say, about Devlin. He was taken from Jessica by the Tates, and it's amazing to me because it seems like they never took good care of this child. And as a matter of fact, it seems like they might have taken him, in my opinion, just in order to abuse this child because of the way the family history is and the way that these people act. I wouldn't put it past them. But I apologize, Little Red. I was busy looking at the chat and because I was reading Carla's comment, and yeah, it's deplorable.
So the question there's a little kink in the timeline now because it's on his flyer. It says the last time he was seen was at the store. I think it says at 8:21 a.m. I think that's what I remember. But now Matt is saying that he talked to him on the phone later after 8:21 in the morning. So when exactly is the last time anybody heard from this child?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah. Is there receipts that Matt actually talked to him, or is he just saying that? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So basically, this is the timeline as we know it. So Devlin got up. He left the house around 7:28 in the morning. 7:30 is Tamara says 7:28. I've also heard that Sabrina and her boyfriend were also leaving for the day to go to jobs around that time. So Devlin walks to town. He does take a shortcut. There's two routes that Devlin usually takes to town, and he took one of the two routes. I don't think anyone can definitively say which route Devlin took except for Devlin, in my opinion. So he takes one of the two routes that he usually takes. Again, with his autism, that would cause him to be in a very rigid routine and pattern that he'd have to, almost, have to accomplish. Or he didn't feel good about the day, right? And so he goes and he stops off and he dumpster dives at Family Dollar. And then after he leaves the Family Dollar, he brings some recyclables to Carl's, where he was supposed to have turned in whatever he could have found for money, extra money. And then he used his bridge card, which is his EBT or food card, in order to buy himself something to eat and something to drink. Now, if you will elaborate really quickly, and I'll finish up, but what do you know about his interaction at Carl's?
So that was also clarified on the phone call that I had right before finding out that we went live at 6. I thought we were going live at 7 my time. So I was told a few days ago by somebody that I actually, kind of trust, even though I don't know them, that she went up to Carl's and personally talked to the cashier that apparently checked Devlin out to see if the cops actually had surveillance footage of him at Carl's, because nobody has seen it. I haven't seen it. The Tates haven't seen it. And as far as I'm concerned, I need proof of life, and I was told that the cops did go up there to get the footage, but to the cashier's knowledge, they were unable to get it. However, with the phone call that I had with the guy from Backwoods Search and Rescue tonight, right before I got on here, the footage has been seen. The footage does exist. There's some kind of Christian ministries thing that has been involved in the case, that Backwoods Search and Rescue personally talked to, and they have seen the footage. So Backwoods Search and Rescue told me tonight that the footage does exist.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, because I knew that you had an update, and I know that we were talking about that last night. And that's what's important, is to get that information. So there's footage of Devlin last using his, or excuse me, in Carl's supermarket, right?
Yes, that was Devlin that used his card. Backwoods Search and Rescue verified that to me tonight.
Shazam. That's what we needed, right? That's what we need. That's fantastic news, Jessica. Great. So we have that piece. And then Devlin leaves Carl's and he goes over to Laco Laundry, where he was charging his cell phone, right? So if he used his bridge card at 821, it's a short walk to Laco Laundry. He's short, it's like it's not even a block away. And he heads over there, right? And he's charging his phone and he makes the phone call to Sandra's, and Matt answers the phone. And then Matt said that they stayed on the phone for a half an hour. But the problem there is, in my opinion, is that, Sandra was supposedly just going into the bathroom and she was going to go use the bathroom and come out. So I don't know if she had a stomach ache or something like that that would have kept her in the bathroom longer than just, to take a tinkle. And I'll just throw that out there, right? But according to Matt, he spoke to Devlin from about 9 a.m. to about 9:30 a.m. And then according to Tamara, we have a ping on Marie, her Life 360, where she was tracking Devlin, supposedly, allegedly, in her opinion. And that's the last time that we know of that Devlin was heard from by the Tates. And I'll let you guys take it away.
So, in regards to Matt's phone, have they subpoenaed those records where they can confirm that he actually did speak to Devlin in that time period? Have they taken any of their phones and done anything on those phones?
I cannot confirm or deny anything there. When I spoke to Detective Castle, she assured me that they were looking into every possible avenue. However, she didn't and couldn't, or I'll just say wouldn't, share any details of the case. Well, I'll just say what I asked her was the last ping at 11 p.m. and she said, I can't tell you that. And I said, okay. And there were a couple other questions that I tried to ask her off the cuff, like just to see if she might, accidentally answer. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I was trying to ask her questions, but the answer was the same. We are working on everything. And I'm in the process of getting everything over to her. As well too, because my phone call was more of a concern for the way the family is acting, and also we've highlighted that here tonight. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I think it's just all that they're worried, they don't want people looking at them and whatnot. So I just kind of, it is what it is there. And but to the best of my knowledge, it's still an open and ongoing investigation, and they're working everything they can.
So, Lady Freedom, so it is still just a missing person. They do not consider this a criminal case at all. Is that correct?
Well, she didn't say that, no. And the thing is that they're still actively taking leads and everything, and she was interested in my phone call as being a lead. I could hear her typing and getting all of the information down. I did give her my information in order, because she asked me when I was talking to her, and like I said, I talked to her for about a half hour myself. Uh, and she just assured me that they were handling it, but that she was also interested in what they've been saying, because I'm guessing it's because they've questioned them or taken their electronics, and now if they find inconsistencies, that's why I'm making sure I get every single bit of anything that they've commented on, or whatever narratives they've tried to push, right? Because it's always up to perception. Everybody's going to have their own side of the story. So she was very interested in that as a lead, in my opinion.
So I'm going to ask y'all one other question over here about this. And it's kind of like, let me figure out how to phrase this for a second. So we know that Devlin needed to finish his court case. His upcoming court case is over the money. Is that correct? The case that's still open is just over that charge for the use of the improper use of somebody's money, or however he paid his fine. Is that correct?
To my knowledge, yes. He was going to court the following day in Berry County, according to Tammy. And Berry County was... Oh, wait. No. He was going to court for the probation violation in Berry County, and he was on probation for the domestic violence charge. So he was going to court for the first charge because of a probation violation, according to Tammy.
Right. And that's what Matt had said in the chat as well, that it was a probation violation hearing. So
let me ask you this question, because, you know, like when you violate your probation, sometimes they arrest you right there to put you in jail. I only know this because I worked at a district attorney's office for years. So, well, that's how it works in Texas anyway. Was he facing being arrested for the violation of this probation to go to jail to finish out, to do a serve-off for the rest of his time that was left on this probation? Because I could see if he did not want to be arrested, he might walk away, okay, because people don't want to go to jail. I get that. But we don't even know if it was that kind of a probation violation hearing that he was even looking at. It could have been a simple, okay, we're going to add a month, or we're going to admonish you by doing something else. I mean, it might not have been, oh, we're going to arrest you. I mean, is anybody clear about that?
To my knowledge, he was not facing being arrested. And in fact, there was also a payment made to his fine within days of his disappearance. It didn't post until after the disappearance, though. But to my knowledge, he was not only not facing jail time at that court date, but he was also frantically trying to find a way to get to that court date. And I was told by multiple people. Matt claimed in chat the other night when we were live, I can't remember how long ago it was, but Matt claimed one night in chat that his son John was supposed to take him. Originally, Sabrina was supposed to take him, but refused. So my son started freaking out, trying to get transportation so he could go to court. He wanted to go to court. He did not run.
well, and
That is
it
good to
doesn't
know.
sound like the actions of someone who were looking, obviously he wasn't looking forward to court, but he was also looking for a ride. So, I mean, he was looking forward to going in that regard.
Okay, so let me ask you, why would they refuse to take him to court? That seems so strange. They knew he did not have a driver's license. They knew that he couldn't just I'm sure there's not a city bus you could just get on. Like, there's probably not public transportation there that you just jump on and get to this other county to go to this court date, because it wasn't even the same county. Is that correct?
Please excuse my language when I say this, but whenever Sabrina decided to get a hair up her ass because she was having some kind of issues with my son, she was constantly refusing to transport my son to different places that he needed to be. This was not just this court date type thing. She was constantly doing that to my son. and making him walk places because she would refuse to transport him due to quote unquote his attitude.
Okay, now Sabrina is Sabrina the person that was getting his check until the judge said no?
Ma'am, to be honest with you, I cannot tell you who he was, who his payee was before he got his SSI cut off. I have no idea.
Okay, I just wondered because I can see her being a complete you know what when she wasn't able to control that anymore. That's the only reason why I'm asking that, because I just really feel like he did not just start walking off to court somewhere like that. That's not what happened to this child. His scent would have been followed out further from where it was the last scent was. Something else happened right there. That's all. That's the only reason why I asked that question. But anyway. All right. Thank you very much for answering that. I appreciate it. I'm going to mute out.
Sprinkle Donut, do you want to say something? I just want to make sure everybody gets some time to ask questions and stuff.
No, I'm good. The question that I had was kind of going back toward the proof of life and seeing him on video and things of that. But she answered that, just exactly what I was thinking too. Because, nowadays there's so many cameras and stuff. I was wondering if they actually saw him on video at all at any point. But I'm just shaking my head because these people just the way that he was treated is just blows my mind. It's just heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking because he seemed to be trying to do all the right things and he was just hit no matter which way he turned with all these people that just were trying to make it harder for him. And it just doesn't make sense. I just hate that people act like that. And he had struggles with the autism and things, but you know what? He still seemed to be doing the right things and trying to be responsible for his actions and take responsibility and wanting to get to court. And there's nobody in that household or nobody in those group of people that could have put their arm around that boy's shoulder and said, "Come on, I'll help you." It just makes me so angry.
Spot on, Sprinkle Donut, spot on.
And imagine how this makes me feel when you guys are nothing to him and it outrages you. I'm the one that gave birth to him.
I know. Somebody asked a question here. Let me find it right here. So, Jessica, let me ask you this question because Carrie Jackson is asking it in chat. Did Devlin tell you John was giving him a ride or just Matt's word? Because, we know Matt over here is just not being honest. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I spoke with my son, he was freaking out trying to find a ride to court. Mind you, though, the last time I spoke to my son was 2 days before he went missing.
Thank you, Jessica. Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's all we know is what Matt had said in the chat about John taking off of work for the day and he was going back. He would be going to work at Burger King at 3, but in the morning he was going to be taking Devlin to court for the probation violation hearing. So that's exactly as I remember it. And also I do have those screenshots too. So, and it's in my live chat, guys. I never get rid of the live chat or delete videos.
Thank you, Lady Freedom, for doing that. Okay, y'all, we've been on here about 2 hours, which is a long time for me. I only usually go about an hour and a half or so, but I'm just kind of thinking, I know Jessica's tired. And I mean, there is other information that we are working on getting. And as soon as we have it in our hands, we will come back and bring it forward to you guys. I don't want to put something out there unless I actually have the receipt to prove what I'm talking about. So that is why we're not going to talk about that tonight. And is that agreement, Lady Freedom? Is that what we decided? I want to make sure I got that right. Because, if you can't prove what you're talking about, then you're no better than the other person down the road who's just making up stuff about these cases. And that hurts the case. It does not help the case. So with that being said, I just want to thank everybody for coming on. I really do appreciate it. I know Lady Freedom might want to keep going later on her channel if she would like to. That's fine. We can all do a Lady Freedom raid if y'all want to do that. But for myself and Sprinkled Donut, we don't usually go this long. But anyway, thank you so much. Is there any other questions that anybody wants to ask before we end our live? I'm gonna give y'all time to look to write in the chat.
I did see one from Carrie Jackson. She says, who had guardianship of Devlin until he was 18? And I think that's a good question, Jess.
I believe at one point in time, Gordon had guardianship of him when he was with Gordon and Tasha. Then I believe it went to Sabrina. I know Sabrina had guardianship over him for a minute, but I honestly cannot tell you who was his last guardian and whether or not he was receiving SSI when he went back to Sandra's. All I can speak to is 2 weeks after he turned 18, because that's when I came back into his life officially.
Right. And that's the hard part. And I think it's wonderful that you are in his life, Jessica. I think that he felt a lot of love from everybody, especially from other sources where he wasn't getting it from home. And it's really what Devlin needed. He's a sweet kid. He loves to be around people. And I think that's just really, really sad how he was treated. And then, of course, I want to say thank you to, you know, the co-hosts and and for Little Red having us up tonight. I think it's so important to get these cases out there, and I just don't think Devlin's gotten enough. And I'm so grateful to have two wonderful ladies like Sprinkle Donut and Little Red to talk about these cases with. So
Well, I'm happy to do it any old time. Anytime y'all want to do a multi-stream, when we bring our new information or whatever, because Devlin just touches me. I'm sorry, he just does. Anyway,
I appreciate.
get upset here. Oh, I hear his baby. I hear that baby.
hey,
Anyway,
AJ.
so he's so cute, isn't he? I really do miss having my child
gosh,
here. I'm
yes.
telling you, I really do. Anyway, so thank you all for coming. Little Sprinkle, do you want to say anything else before we go? Because we're going to hop off. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I just wanted to say to Jessica, I know we can't feel any of this pain that's in her heart. I know we can't. And as much as we would want to, we would do anything to do that, we would do it. And Jessica, you're going to get through this. And, I know you probably have a big support system, but we are all here if you ever need anything. And we are going to do whatever we can to bring more focus on your baby and to find him. And we can promise you that. We can promise you that.
We are, and we are. I mean, whatever I need to do, whatever I can do, however I can help, that's what I want to do. Even if it's just talking to you on a daily basis because you need a shoulder to be on it. That's fine too. Whatever I can do, that's what I'm going to try to do. And so with all of that, I'm going to turn this over to Lady Freedom, and I'm going to say bye and thank you all for coming over. And I'm not sure if she's going to continue this live on her channel or not. But if she is, just let me know. And Jessica, once again, thank you so much. We're here for you. Anyway, thank you guys. Have a good evening.
Thank you. And
I'll
thank
cover
you.
a new one too. Go ahead, Jess.
Thank you all for all your support for Devlin. At the end of the day, I just want my son found. It's not about me. It's not about the Tates. It's where's Devlin? That's all that matters is where's Devlin?
Amen. Where is he? And I want to know, by God. I want to know. And these people need to
That's it.
start
There shouldn't
talking.
be any sides. There shouldn't be anything like that. It's just where's Devlin?
Right. Okay, so we're going to go up. We're going to leave.
Good night,
We're
ladies.
going to go out with We Are Devlin's Army. We appreciate you all coming here. And we'll be seeing you again to talk about Devlin and his case, because you're right. There's not enough people out there talking about Devlin's case. We're just going to keep doing it every day. Every day we're going to talk about Devlin. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good time the rest of your weekend. Be careful out there. And I always say, what I always say, hug your babies. All right. Night, guys.
Love you. Bye.